Good morning from Seattle. Good afternoon to the rest of the country. See if I can get this light a little bit better for you guys. This is legal blogging, 45 chapters long. We're up to chapter 8, so we'll be running this all the way till after the weekend of July 10 or 11. Today is a blog, is an independent publication on its own domain, and I'm going to share with you not only the just subjective and obvious ways, but also some of the technology reasons as well. And I'm just going to pull this up on my screen so I can see those at the same time, because a few of those were shot over to me just a little while ago. But the idea is that a blog, from the beginning, if we go back to 2003, 2004, it was a blog. Blog is a blog. It's a publication on an independent domain, which means you've got the title of the blog, it's published by a party, and then it is on an independent domain. So if there's Smith Law Firm, you might have a blog that is, New York IP litigation or New York probate litigation.com. It's not on SmithLawFirm.com, or it's not in Smith Law Firm website. Since that time, I think a lot of people that really never built a reputation on blogging or ever blogged to build a name, build a blog to build a company, or really knew a heck of a lot about blogging, have come along and said, gee, your blog ought to be in a website. And traditionally, they're website development companies who run large websites far better than I could ever dream of doing a website. But I would question their judgment when it comes to how a blog should be run, or even how it should be set up from a technology standpoint in most cases. So what are the reasons that a blog should be in a website? One is that it's a publication or magazine. It's just like if you were walking through an airport and saw publications, you're seeing the name of the publication right there and you're picking it up because of that. It covers a particular sport. It covers a particular type of business. It covers a particular type of diet. It covers a particular type of fitness. There isn't a name of a publisher, and then inside of that you would open up, it covers sports, and it covers brides, and it covers clothing, and it covers running shoes, and all those type of things. You pick it up because it's a publication, a magazine, and there's a panache to having that, but there's also a prowess, and there's also an identity that is built as a result of that. You don't go inside something to read content. You go to the publication to read it. It's not like going inside the door of the law firm and say, what do you got here? You want to make sure it aligns with the firm goals. So what are the goals of a blog? The goals of a blog are, one, that you'd like to build a name for certain lawyers. You'd like to increase business. You'd like to learn. You'd like to build relationships. Those things just don't happen when you put blogs inside of a website. It's just a machine to produce content and hopefully push it out and hopefully distribute to something. So you're probably going to cost the firm more money to do it that way, even though you're thinking you're saving money because we're putting it inside the website and we pay the people $800,000 to build a website and they're giving us blogs for free. But what you're really doing is costing yourselves money. Because if you're going to build the reputation of a lawyer, you got to get the lawyer excited about publishing a blog. And if they're not excited about publishing a blog, then probably not going to produce the best content there. If you're looking to build, a name for particular lawyers, probably not going to happen inside of a blog. If you're looking for revenue to be generated from the blog, and I mean directly from the blog, I don't mean click a link and therefore they now hire the firm. I mean that somebody's reputation has grown, relationships are built, referrals are picked up because somebody read something from this. Now you can say that could happen from a blog and a website, it just hasn't happened. I've asked for the last 5-10 years, as people came up with all the reasons that blogs ought to be on a website, does anybody know of any cases where lawyers have generated $2 or $4 million exclusively from relationships they built on the blog? Have they? I'll take them today, take them Monday. I'll write them up on my blog so you can see them. But there's any number of lawyers that have generated that type of money annually from relationships they've built through blogging. And so if your goal is to derive revenue, and I would think it should be if you're going to have lawyers blog at $600 an hour, then the blog has to be outside the website. It's not up for discussion until the data supports otherwise. So what is your goal? Is it revenue? Now, if your goal is web stats to the website, then put your blogs inside your website. Absolutely. The more content you put on your website, the more content that can be indexed on your website, then put your blogs inside your website. But if your goal is to generate traffic to your website, it would be cheaper just to buy Google AdWords than to have lawyers write a lot of content to try to drive traffic to the website. Because you could buy sophisticated AdWords that would look across the top, across certain subject matters and whatnot in the law, and nice descriptive descriptions that wouldn't turn people off. They work. It would be cheaper than saying we're going to have a whole bunch of really expensive people produce content so we can get traffic to the website, and then we'll buy some website stats packages that can give us more reports about who's reading it. We don't know what we're going to do after they read it, but we will send it up across the firm that we think this person read it, or we think we got this case as a result of it. I would demand, if you're going to do blogs on your website, that somebody be accountable for the revenue that you're generating from the blogs. And don't let anybody tell you that you can't tell how much money is being generated by revenue of the blogs when other very sophisticated, very large firms and small firms and media firms are doing it and they're tracking it. Because if you ask any lawyer where they're generating their work, they'll know. I mean, somebody might say, well, I play golf every Thursday afternoon and I seem to do it that way. I have a lawyer that's generated a lot of work because he has a duck hunting place in the California Valley, and he meets a sophisticated group of people that go duck hunting in a club down there, or he goes hunting up here, or goes hunting out in eastern Washington or in Montana. He can attribute relationships that he's built through that type of activity. Nobody's going to tell him you got to stop doing that, because that you can't demonstrate that with some type of click-throughs or something like that. Is the website saving you money? Because some people will say that, and really what they're saying is that our blogs kind of suck and they haven't done a very good job for us, and we haven't really figured out how to use them. And maybe that's Lexblog's fault in some cases if they were customers of ours and we didn't follow along with them closely enough. So we're going to put them inside the website because we've given up. Well, that's not a really good reason either. If your blogs suck, maybe you should just take them down off of the internet, or figure out how to use them. It shouldn't be just to save money, because you're actually losing money by doing that, because you've given up on the money that you could have generated. And the reason I'm wearing a Mets hat today is in honor of New York, and some of the things that they've done. It's Memorial Day weekend. They're opening up Jones Beach on a limited basis. You got to be there by 10 o'clock in the morning, or it's going to fill up. But it's because of the coronavirus trending down. Now, how that's going to play out as everybody comes back together again, or how it's going to play out into the fall, we don't know. But New York has done a good job in that respect, certainly taken some hits in other areas. Another reason is it fuels passion for the bloggers. So if I'm going to get fired up about blogging, it's going to have to be because other people are giving me love from the outside. I need love to continue to blog. And I get love by people citing my posts, from people sharing my posts, and all that type of things. And I feel some ownership because of this publication, or at least being part of this publication. I just would be really surprised if people are running down the hall about getting the opportunity to publish on the firm's blog inside the website. I just don't think it happens. I don't think there's lateral hires that are coming to firms for the opportunity to publish on the firm's blog in the website. So think of these things subjectively. Does someone look at it as far as an opportunity to get involved? They don't. And Gary, if you could send me those tech reasons in an email, that would be great. I can't find it real quickly in what I was looking for on Slack channel. Look at the guests and interviews. Good bloggers get guests to post. They also do interviews. Ask an in-house counsel at Microsoft if they would like to do, a post on one of your 20 blogs that's built into your website that comes off a link that says blog on the top of the site. I don't know. I don't think it's all that great an opportunity for them to be out there. Now put them out on a publication for which the firm has built a prowess. Proskauer, just going to share that we're online on Twitter right now. Maybe. Guess I don't see it. Give me 1 second. There it is. If somebody's going to have a blog at Proskauer and they're going to go to somebody and say, we'd like to give you the opportunity to do a guest post because you as an in-house counsel don't have that publication, aren't being seen by a lot of people, that's another thing. You've got that independent publication. If you ask to interview somebody and send them out 4 questions, why they enjoy doing what they're doing, what's the greatest challenge that they have, if they had a magic wand, how would they change the system? Those type of questions that make people feel like a hero. That type of thing can be done on an independent publication. It's not going to be done, on a blog inside a website because nobody's going to be enthusiastic about it, either the subject of the interview or the firm. I mean, just nobody's going to be fired up about it. It's our blogs. The shares. I just haven't seen that many shares coming from blogs inside of a website as far as social media shares. I do see an awful lot that come vis-a-vis Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, when it's out on an open, independent publication. And I'm talking about third-party shares, not just coming from the firm. The firm might have to go and say, this is a good post, now make sure we put it out on LinkedIn to see if it can get any love. But it isn't getting any love at the site. And the algorithms know who's doing the sharing, whether it's coming from the firm or somebody else, so that your shares are probably going to be reduced. This may sound nuts, but if you start pulling your blog inside your website, you're going to lose some lawyers. At least those lawyers that built a reputation and earning a lot of money from blogs. Because I've talked to any number of lawyers that would leave their firm if the firm said that we were going to have to take your blog inside of our website. Because they know from generating the millions of dollars that they are, that's going to go like this, or at least their opportunities to increase that or to retain some of those clients that they built through relationships in their blog is going to be lost by bringing the blog inside the websites. So if you're looking for people that are good bloggers, and rather than say just good bloggers, people that know how to network through the internet as a way to develop business, and they happen to use a blog to do that, if you're looking to put them at risk because they already know how to do that, then just tell them that their blog is coming inside the website and you're going to get them to look around. They're going to leave. The lawyers that have never had positive results from blogging, they don't care, because they're just in it to write content. They're being told to write content so that our website can get traffic. Citations, publications, Bloomberg, American Lawyer Media, other blogs. Blogs can be as influential as any publication is today, especially when they're covering niche issues, and they cite other blogs. I don't see them citing other blogs inside websites. They don't cite websites. They're citing other publications. I mean, if you look at somebody like Bob Ambrogi, he's citing all types of publications, but you tend not to see him citing articles inside of websites. He's citing publishing, content, journalism. Your lawyers are citizen journalists at their finest, and they're developing work as a result. They're not just producing content on a website. You can incorporate your blogs into websites. You can do that easily. So if you've got your blogs outside a website running on publishing software, you just have it come in through an API or RSS feeds, and that can display anywhere you want on the website. It can display, in profiles where the lawyers are. It can display where you want a practice group. It can run across the front page of your site. You can decide whether you want to index your content on the website. You can decide whether you want to index your content at the blog. You can have it your way, but what you're doing is you're maintaining that independent publication out here. So it's not an either or type of thing. Well, gee, if I put it in my website, it can index the content over here and I can never have a blog over here. It isn't that type of thing. You can have it however you want to have it. It's just data, it's just bits. But you need to keep that independent publication for its prowess. Lawyers will stop posting on blogs after a while. And they tend to stop posting, or at least you got to chase them around more, blogs that tend to be not getting as much love from the outside world. Now, admittedly, there's any number of them that stop posting when they're independent as well. But if you're not having lawyers excited about it internally, it's going to take that editorial calendar and that stick to beat them. A couple other points before I get to some of the technology. 86% of people distrust advertising. 86%. So, a website is advertising because it says right at the bottom that this is advertising in our state in order to ethics rules. Nothing wrong with that. It's great information as far as the background of the firm, the great work that they do, the type of clients they represent. Here's the lawyers that we have. Putting out press information about accolades that the lawyers have received, rightfully so. Great lawyers. But it tends to be advertising and promotional as opposed to reporting. Reporting that carries some journalism integrity with it. You want to get your journalism integrity away from your advertising and marketing. And then the last thing is that clients tend to hire lawyers as opposed to a firm. And that's okay. The lawyer that's getting hired is going to need the people in the firm to be able to do the work. Otherwise, the corporation would not have hired the firm. Somebody wouldn't have hired a personal injury firm if they didn't know the background they had and the other lawyers that they had and the paralegals they had and the team they had and their ability to fund the case, all of those type of things. But with a blog, what happens is lawyers tend to get identified as opposed to the practice group. So what happens is you dilute the effect of individual lawyers by putting them inside, the website, because then their blogging is inside the website. Now, you might have some people in the firm that are going to say, well, that's the way we want it because we don't want to have any individual identities. But go ask the CFO in the firm, what's the percent of people that are generating the revenue for the firm? And it might be 6 or 7%. So if there's 93% of the people that you're trying to make this, trying to get everybody the same, why would you ruin the opportunity for the 6 or 7% that can go out and build a name and bring in revenue? It doesn't matter whether they're doing it by taking people out to lunch, which they can't even do now, or whether they're doing it in blogging. Each one of them can be effective. In fact, the blogging may be more effective than taking people out to lunch, especially for lawyers that have not been practicing as long. So you want to give people you want to give lawyers the opportunity to get hired, independent of the firm, so they can bring the work into the firm. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you was the technology aspect. And I was just looking for that real fast. It got sent over to me or got put someplace earlier, and I don't see it anywhere. If it came in an email, I would see it, but it did not. One more second. But generally, Gary Vandervoort, my COO, sent over some information earlier on Slack, and for whatever reason, I can't find it right now. If it came by email, I would run through some of it. But the highlights, as far as technology are concerned, are, what are you using for publishing? Are you using website technology that can be WordPress, or are you using a publishing platform, a managed WordPress platform? Today, the best and what is going to be the word of publishing is WordPress. So there used to be a time when WordPress versus WordPerfect. Word versus WordPerfect. Well, today, WordPerfect is going to gobble up the industry and be the exclusive platform that we have. But WordPress is not equal. It needs to be on a managed platform that can be handled in a way that is going to protect the firm. So what has to happen is, what is the managed platform and who is managing that for the firm? Are the core updates being updated maybe 3 or 4 times a year? That tends not to happen with a large website. What do those core updates mean? Performance, stability, security, all coming through as core updates from WordPress. Then what has to happen from the technology team is they've got to run those core updates across all the plugins from the oldest blogs that are being operated. So if it's a web development company and they don't do as many blogs, do they have the capacity and testing environment where they can take the core updates and run them against all the plugins that they have, which all the plugins that everybody want, and to see if it's being done, or is that going to be a challenge? So I would look at your publishing as a SaaS solution, just like you would anything else. we have to have it be highly performing. We have to have it be secure. We have to have it be up to speed. Without that, then we're not getting the best that we can have. So keep your content on a managed WordPress platform that is being run by a publishing technology company, not necessarily by a website development company, unless they are a managed WordPress platform that is doing these things on an ongoing basis. So there's lots of different reasons, and people are going to go the other direction for any number of reasons, being sold that way. And for whatever reason, this tends to be some religious topic. Kevin went on the internet and talked about, blogs are better off independent than a website, than inside of a website. It goes crazy out there. But I think when you stack up the reasons and the logic, the revenue, the technology, the influence, and those type of things, it really becomes an obvious issue. And I would, if you ever want to make the decision, just take a line, put it down the middle, and just go pluses and minuses each way. And it won't be, a dollars and cents type of thing. It'll become more clear to you at that point in time. If anybody wants to talk about that issue, they certainly can. I appreciate all your time. This went on for a little bit longer than I'm usually talking to you each day. We're 8 chapters in. We have 37 more chapters to go. So we'll be running this until the end of July. And the other thing I want to remind you of is the Blog for Good campaign. We just last night sent out any number of emails to associations letting them know I'd be reaching out to them so that they don't lose the opportunity to aggregate and curate their content by state. And I think just in the last couple of days, we just started launching the blogs for the Blog for Good campaign from lawyers that have been in touch on their own and through the New York City Bar Association, which just launched their own publication to help consumers, business people, corporations, government agencies, and other lawyers out of New York City. So hang with us on that. And if you want to participate in the Blog for Good campaign, make sure your blog is inside of LexBlog. It will automatically be included, be distributed out to bar associations. You'll have your profile in LexBlog, so your COVID and pandemic-related content can be seen. It'll be seen on the coronavirus legal daily blog that we have, and then be in our database of all the content. If you don't have a blog, all you got to do is go to publishing.lexblog.com and fill out the contact form. We'll be in touch right away. You'll get a blog for $39.99 a month. If you're part of an association, it's free to the end of the year. What we've done to keep that price is keep that price under the price that lawyers would use for a business blog at WordPress. And trying to make that available for you. And then we'll help you with that so we can make blogging easy for you. The type of questions you would need to ask, it might be 15 or 20 questions. If you could just ask those and answer those on niche subjects, in your locale and in your state, it'd be so helpful to the people facing issues. I just talked to a lawyer 2 days ago, about, family law, where people did not get in the middle of mediation quick enough. And so the mother was having to travel 8 months pregnant to St. Louis with a child for visitation to drop off the child, and we're in the middle of this pandemic. So there's so many issues that lawyers can help people on, and we just want to empower you to tap into the passion and the care that so many good lawyers have across the country to provide you the publishing platform that you can use. And on this Memorial Day weekend, I would ask everybody, in addition to thinking about all the servicemen that we've always kept in mind over Memorial Day weekend, keep in mind, all the people who have lost their lives in the last 3 months, and each of their family members, that have lost, parents and brothers and sisters and children, and spouses. Very, very sad. So keep them in mind, and keep in mind what you have. And for those lawyers that are willing to give back, please give a thought to joining the Blog for Good campaign. Thanks much, and have a great weekend.